When you want to make headway with decarbonizing your business, you may wonder where to start and how to proceed. This is perfectly normal. In this video, we will look at the 4 main recommended stages in this process. 1. Set out clear intentions and requirements. The first stage involves questioning and information. Why are you interested in decarbonization? To meet regulatory requirements? To meet the demands of customers who are seeking decarbonized transport? For your brand image? Another question involves your required CO2 reduction targets. There are several alternatives to diesel for decarbonizing a vehicle fleet, namely biofuels, electricity, and the upcoming hydrogen. Each of these energies provides solutions for decarbonization, as well as having some limitations in terms of use. Each technology also requires different charging facilities, either a biogas tank, a hydrogen terminal, or an electric charging terminal. The most relevant solution will be the one that suits your business, which means that it's also important to list the specificities and constraints related to your activity. Analyze your business and draw up a decarbonization plan. Once you have clear decarbonization targets, you should carry out a detailed analysis of your business. This diagnosis should include 3 key components: the profile of your fleet by studying for each vehicle its technical characteristics, its usage, mileage, and existing maintenance contracts; the profile of the rounds, detailing for each circuit the minimum, average, and maximum mileage, the type of vehicle used, stopping times, and any specific constraints; your existing infrastructures with a focus on the electrical power subscribed and available, but also the space you have to possibly install chargers, a biodiesel tank, or a hydrogen station. This in-depth analysis will enable you to create a decarbonization plan that sets out the vehicles to be replaced, the alternative energies to be used, the rounds to be modified if necessary, and infrastructures to be upgraded. It is interesting to build this plan over a period of 5 to 6 years to be able to validate the reductions in CO2 emissions year after year, as well as their compatibility with the legal constraints known to date. Some manufacturers, such as Renault trucks, offer their customers tools to simulate CO2 emission reductions or to test the energy autonomy they need on their journeys. Do not hesitate to seek expert advice and have all the facts at your fingertips. This can make decisions much easier to take. 3. Design the most appropriate solution. Having drawn up a CO2 emissions reduction plan for your fleet with battery electric trucks, in the 3rd stage, you start to put everything into practice. But before you start deciding on vehicles and chargers, you are advised to try out vehicles to ensure your plan works in real conditions. These tests are also an opportunity to collect concrete feedback, to share it between the different people and the different departments of your company, and in doing so, set up a collective approach to the energy transition. When it comes to electric battery vehicles, it's often observed that reluctant drivers before the test show themselves convinced after having used the truck in real conditions. They often highlight the silence in the cab, the lack of vibrations, and the much smoother ride. They then become excellent internal ambassadors for the project. Once the solution has been validated by a vehicle test, the decarbonization plan needs to be put into practice. In detail, this involves defining the technical characteristics of the vehicle and their bodywork, appropriate maintenance and service contracts, finance and leasing options, the right charging infrastructure and grid connection in the case of electric vehicles, bearing in mind that overnight charging is generally sufficient to provide the necessary range, the scheduling of the various operations so that everything is ready when the vehicles are delivered. 4. Implement, operate, and optimize. The 4th and final stage is the implementation of the defined solutions. It is necessary to anticipate and coordinate the various operations, securing the available power, installing the chargers, to allow commissioning as soon as your vehicles are delivered. Be careful not to underestimate this step, which can prove to be complex. Some manufacturers, such as Renault trucks, support you in installing your infrastructure. Staff training and use of the efficient fleet management tools are also key to the success of your energy transition. Finally, As vehicles are all connected, the collected information can be exploited to optimize their use as well as your infrastructures. The total cost of ownership often plays a key role in the decision. Let's take a closer look at how electric vehicles compare to diesel vehicles. The total cost of ownership mainly comprises the cost of the vehicle and its bodywork. This is higher for electric vehicles than it is for diesel. Maintenance and repair costs. Conversely, these costs are lower with electric vehicles. The cost of energy. For electric vehicles, the cost of energy is 3 to 4 times lower in the total cost of ownership than for diesel. This makes them much more resilient in a context of rising global energy costs. Investments in charging infrastructure and associated services. These costs can be considerable if work is required to connect to the grid. To avoid unnecessary additional costs, it is important to choose the right charging solution. If a standard charger is sufficient for the use of the vehicle, there is no need to install a fast charger which will consume more energy. You can subtract from these costs available public subsidies. These are only available for alternative energy vehicles and vary in amount and format from one country to another. The procedures for obtaining these subsidies are sometimes complex, and you should not hesitate to seek expert advice. You can also subtract other positive impacts, which include easier access to restricted urban areas due to very low noise emissions and no NOx emissions. The total cost of ownership of battery electric vehicles is already attractive in some countries compared to diesel vehicles, thanks to public subsidies. Finally, still regarding battery electric vehicles, the best total cost of ownership is achieved when the vehicles are operated as close as possible to their limit of use. This is why it is important to optimize the battery packs according to the intended use of the vehicle. Oversized packs reduce the profitability of the vehicle. The influence of charging infrastructure on battery sizing should also be taken into consideration. A direct current charge will optimize the battery packs and save weight and cost. It is therefore important to evaluate the different options and find the best balance. To conclude, we can summarize in 4 main steps the path to follow to decarbonize your activity. Set out clear requirements, analyze your business and draw up a decarbonization plan, design the most relevant solution in all its details, including its financing, implement and then operate the solution over the long term.